In the Talensi district of the Upper East region, children busily try to eke out a living. Sadly, children in these mines use mercury freely without any knowledge of the effects on their health. At the end of this documentary, we will get to know how children and adults risk their lives in search of money, which they sometimes hardly get enough of. Is Ghana waiting for a mercury disaster before regulating the use of mercury? The search for gold and wealth here does not come easy. In the process of searching for gold, many become ghosts.
You can be there and something will fall on top of, maybe a stone can break from the roof and fall on top of you. Or when they blast the stones, you could get trapped by the smoke, so it's very dangerous. What he knows is that the person got trapped by smoke and he died.
So what do you think about when you go down there?
So when you are going down, all you are thinking about is God should protect you and help you get the stones that you need and come out.
In 2013, 3 people died here in Gbanen. It is not the first time. Miners recount several people trapped underground.
People die here.
When was the last time someone died?
That last time, there are 4 people die a day, one day. And that day, like they go down. And the ducks enter them, and they cramp up. If they cramp up, they cannot. Some of them cannot. They cannot take them to hospital. 2 people die here, and 2 people die to hospital. 2 people died this year.
How did they die?
Because of it's the same thing. The ducks.
When miners debate about safety and making money, no matter the cost, money always wins.
People are dying every time. Don't get scared. Are you not afraid?
Yeah, I'm afraid.
You're afraid?
Yes.
What are you afraid of?
Because of they are dying. Some of them, if not dying, something can come top and cut your head or knock your head, and they will become black, and they will take to hospital. If not die, they will plaster you.
So why are you doing this if you know that you're going to die one day?
The way you work this one, you can get money and go and give it to your parents.
So you really get money?
And give it to my parents.
How much would you get? Like in a week, a month, how much can you get?
A month I will get like 5 million, 6 million. A day, like this day you just came here and see some load there. You can watch the load and get 10 million. 2 of you share 5 million, 5 million.
The point has already been established that money comes first. With torchlights, many enter the belly of the earth. I am told that as many as 100 people are currently down here hoping to find precious stones and gold. I'm not brave enough to go down and find out what really happens there. So I asked the miners who have been down, up and out.
Yo, you don't use my green.
Have you seen where they are grinding?
Yeah.
La wala la wu en yete mala se la wu la nen den do so wala tu on koy
Is it hot?
Or maybe no. There's a lot of stone and water down there.
This could very well be the reason why people gasp for air. While others go for a swim after crawling out. At least these adults know what they are doing. But what about these children? Emmanuel is 14. He has been doing this for more than a year. He keeps a smile on his face. In fact, he is proud of himself because he has more money than a child his age should have.
I say it is not my fault.
It's not your fault.
Yes.
Whose fault is it?
It's my father and my mother.
Why? Why is it their fault?
If I go to school, if they say let's pay money, they talk they don't have money. And they sack me to the school that I come here.
How much do you get a day?
It is a lot. A lot.
A lot?
Yes.
How much money?
You can get 200, 300.
He has been to school before, but his friend, who is 13, has had no education. They have teamed up to make money. Emmanuel takes me on a tour to his own rented place.
So this is your place?
Yes.
This is where you sleep?
Yes.
So these are your tools?
Yes.
You used to break the stones?
We use kissel.
Chisel. Oh, okay. Okay. I see. I see. Okay, so you come.
In the mines, they work together and get stones, which they later share. These boys have been in the business for a long time, so they hide stones they suspect would contain gold. They start their search. Now they bring in the mercury. This very toxic substance shattered Minamata on the Asian continent.
So what do you do with it?
If you get the gold,
You don't know gold.
they will take the all gold.
Let me show you the gold.
Here. And here.
They are gold.
Yes.
How do you know?
That's the gold. The yellow distance.
That is the gold.
That is the gold. How do you know?
I see it every day.
You see it every day.
Yes.
So you can use your eyes to see it.
Yes.
These children and even adults don't know what they are exposing themselves to. Mercury is a highly toxic liquid metal which attacks the central nervous system. It is particularly harmful to children, pollutes air, land. Ghana has not signed a Minamata Convention yet, and mercury is used indiscriminately. The children bathe in this mercury-contaminated water, exposing themselves to high mercury levels. Ima says he will quit when he has enough money.
If I get money, I will go.
If you get money.
If I get money and go home. If I want to go to school, you want to get money and go and buy food.
When will you get big money so that you can go to school?
Big money. It is luck.
So when?
There. If my luck is there, when I go, I will get the stone.
Isaac knows it all. He's now 19. He started working here at age 13 and says these children will not leave here anytime soon.
The day I came here, I get 6 million. That day, 6 million. And tomorrow next, I started getting money. That's why I cannot, and the work is busy. So I cannot go back and go to school. That's why now.
Another danger is inhaling dust. Dust is inhaled for several hours. Stones gathered from the mines are ground into powder to make it easier when prospecting gold. The dust has serious health implications, especially for children. The dust could contain many compounds which are harmful, but miners focus on getting money instead. In Nigeria, research into rising dust show that powdered stones contain lead, which is extremely dangerous. An estimated 400 children died from lead poisoning. No research has been done here to show what the dust contains, but miners here say the dust makes them sick.
They've been here for 16 years now. Now, in all these 16 years, the job they are doing is very risky, but they have no choice because there's no other job for them to do. So they constantly have to expose themselves to the dust and everything. The children are always sick, and they know it's because of the environment, the dust and all the things they expose the children to. But, you know, they have no option.
As
for children who have died here, they can't even count the number. The number is just way too much. And there are times when the children fall sick, they get them to the hospital, and the health workers tell them that it's because of the dust they expose the children to, so they should get the children out of here. But they can't do that, because if they get the children out of here, it means that they themselves will not have to work. And that means that they will not get money to feed the children. So they know why the children are sick, because the health workers tell them.
Amina tells me her child died here last year because of dust and anemia.
On the 13th May, no benya 1 year, none more just short on. And then I call hospital, they do no hospital, nana, a colony jane. As some more kind of some banner on the moja saw.
One of them.
But I'm a general mechanical.
11 pound or kaipa.
What make a summer mamma kind of call no mass on 1 minute or more. So more ban more mine in it. So say, so many so come a banner or honor as a sense of corners or in.
But she won't say goodbye to this place. Nyabo dropped out of school. His story is not different. He also needs money. He said sometimes he can't breathe properly, and he suspects the dust could be the reason.
He works here. They pay him 5 cedis a day, sometimes 3 cedis. But there are times they don't get money. So when that happens, they don't pay him at all because of the dust. he cannot breathe well, so he doesn't like it, but he's looking for a place where he can get money.
Mercury, if you ingest about 20 nanogram per mil, you must quickly get to the hospital for treatments. And if you take in 100 nanogram per mil, then you really will begin to see the signs of toxicity, and you can even die. But you had, in this case, as we tested, this person had 400 nanogram of mercury. This person died though. And so apparently this was somebody coming from these mining areas. Now, with these children, the most difficult part of it is the fact that it is going to affect their brain. These are going to have problems with IQ. Now, when mercury gets inside you, it's the heavy metal. Now, it goes and even affects the protein that binds to heavy metal. Okay, and so it is not very easy. You actually have to chelate it to get it out of your system, deposits in bones and everything, destroying organs and so on. And so you really need, what you should do with these children, for instance, is that I think that if, like you said in your documentary, if we are serious about this as a nation, we should withdraw these children. That is the first thing to do. Withdraw people who are exposed to mercury from the source of mercury. That is the first thing. And then the other things we have chelators that we give, and then they take in like a drug that will chelate, bind this mercury, and then they can come out of the system. And those who have gone to taking quite a bit more and are having problems already with the cognitive effects and so on, these have to be treated with other therapies. And so it is very, very serious, and I don't think that we should wait so these children begin to get paralyzed, these children begin to have all these serious problems before we get them out of that place. And especially, you see, when you have issues with toxicity, it gets more serious when it has to do with children. It gets more serious when it has to do with children. It's even worse with pregnant women who get close to these places.
Emmanuel is not bothered. For now, life is good. Nyabo wants to move out here, but because of money, he remains. When will government take up responsibility of protecting children here in Gbane and in other mines across the country?
All right, so you have seen the story, and here on Ice Wise, like we say, we put the spotlight on what the Constitution has to say about various things. And in this first series of our show, we're focusing on children's rights. I'm here with Joseph Whittle, who is the Deputy Commissioner of STRAJ, and they are into human rights. We want to find out. Our interest for now is children's rights. Thank you very much, sir, and thank you for coming on our show.
Thank you.
Now, you have seen the story. First of all, let me take your general impression. Of course, from a human rights perspective.
Definitely. I think, off the cuff, I think our children should not be made to work in such hazardous conditions. This is their formative years. They ought to be in school. They ought to be taken care of up to the stage when they are in a position to fall back and then support their families. But what I see is that children are now becoming breadwinners of their families, and that doesn't augur well.
If this is not right, then something is wrong. And when something is wrong, there has to be some kind of punishment. So what does the law say generally about issues like this?
The law is clear about that. The law says that when you are a child, and that is anybody who is below 18, you should not do any hazardous job, any work that would impact on your physique, your health, your morals. And when you look at the clip, obviously, sending children down the mines where there's a possibility of collapses, and we know that quite a number of mining pits do collapse. That is, definitely this is a hazardous job, and I think that that is not a place for children.
Okay.
Yeah, so the law is clear about that. Children should not be exposed to any work that would be hazardous and will impact on their growth, on their education, and on their morals.
And if
And
that
this
happens,
is one.
And if that happens, what should be done according to the law?
If that happens,
what should be done according to the law?
Yes, perpetrators should be punished, and the state ought to ensure that these children are taken off that place and made to do the right thing, reintegrate them into a place. If there are children who have no families, social welfare or social protection should take care of them. If they have families, they should ensure that the families live up to their responsibility.
That's a very interesting one, which for me puts you in a very tight corner, if you like, because Traj has done some kind of studies on these issues. How different is it from what you have just seen?
Not different at all. Not different at all. It's a repetition. It only goes to confirm that since our research, nothing much has changed. At best, we can even say that it has worsened.
So have we failed our children as a state, and have we breached the Constitution in the process?
To the extent that we have not been able to take care of our children, and we are asking them or making them, whether we are parents or whether we are the state or we are guardians, once children are entrusted into our care, we ought to take care of them because they are delicate. To the extent that we have not been able to take care of them, and we push them into such dangerous work, such as mining, going down the pits, using mercury, bathing in mercury, and all those things that definitely will impact on their health, and I mean in later life, and on their education because they are not in school. How useful would they be when the mines close up? What happens? To that extent, I'll say we as a state have to focus our attention on our children because they are our human resource, our human capital, and not only look at, doing all kinds of things with the resources of the state. We need to ensure that we invest in the children, and if it is to bring up interventions by the state, such as the LEAP, all other interventions that the state has been bringing on board, we should ensure that we address this problem because it's a problem of poverty when you look at it.
A problem of mission that is in charge of human rights. I believe that it is your sole responsibility to champion some of these things. Now, what were your recommendations in the study that you did, and how far have you carried on these recommendations?
They were quite far-ranging. One, with respect to the pollution most mines pollute drinking water of the people. To that extent, we've insisted that they should have a way of doing their mining, not just the Galamsey people alone, but also the bigger mining companies. I wouldn't say intentionally, but they have a way by which they pollute the drinking water of the villages within which they operate. What happens? In our quest for money, why should we consign a whole community to drinking water that is polluted, the density of which water is high in fact, all imaginable problems. And the people end up going to hospital with all kinds of sicknesses. We think that should stop. And we have signaled our intention, or we indicated to the regulatory bodies to make sure that they check the operations of the mining companies. We've done that. For children in particular, we've insisted that the state has to live up to its obligation. Come up with interventions that will ensure that the children are taken off the mining pits or are not attracted to go in there. And how they would do that would involve interventions that the state will put in place to ensure that families in those poor communities are well taken care of.
Now, I find appealing to the emotions or morality of people and prosecuting, for instance, which is more lawful. One would have thought that it is in your place more to do something more of prosecution, because if you leave things to, let's say, insisting and appealing to the conscience of people, they are less likely to take action. So What have you done, or what should be done in terms of prosecution? Because if this is what the law says, and you don't do it, you have breached the law. And as upholders of the Constitution, we should not allow that to happen.
I agree with you. This is what we've done. But first of all, let me clarify an issue. CHRAJ is a monitoring body. When we talk about the protection of rights, we ensure that the state lives up to its international obligations. And the obligation of the state in this respect, based on the Convention on the Rights of the Child, which Ghana has ratified, makes Ghana, as a state party, duty-bound to make sure that its children are brought up in line with the standards of that convention. There is the Children's Act, which has been domesticated. The convention has been domesticated into the Children's Act. That alone is an effort on the part of the state. You realize that in the Children's Act there are provisions for prosecution of people who endanger the life and morals of children. And so, but the area for, this is not a function of CHRAJ. What we do when we do monitor and we find out what is happening, we indicate to the state to use the agencies that are responsible for prosecution to prosecute. But the state, with respect to the provision, the fulfillment of rights of the children, where the state has to put schools, put other social amenities to make sure that the lives of the people are improved upon, that is something that we recommend the governments to do. And we go beyond that. We have standing before the Human Rights Council at the UN. So we send reports, the Universal Periodic Review, thematic reports on the rights of the child. We raise all the concerns that we as a national human rights institution have found to be wrong in terms of state practice or what the state ought to do for its children. We do that. That is supposed to then call upon the state at the highest level of the UN system to come and answer and recommend or give recommendations as to how they will intend to fix that matter. All these matters have been done.
So all these recommendations have been made, and they sound really nice. But what have been done beyond these recommendations?
It's about law enforcement. Law enforcement is not in our purview. When we make our recommendations, we indicate who has what to do. And we're saying that at least we don't want to criticize the state or say things that would look like we are putting the state, in a tight corner.
Why not?
But no, because we want to work with the state in solving the problem. Right. Sometimes criticism will look like, but you've given us recommendations, we are working on them. Why are you putting this pressure on us? But we are saying that we know that there have been raids by the Ghana police on some of the mining sites where they detect children are being used to do certain things. What we expect is that we should see more raids, more prosecutions to serve the deterrent effect on the rest of Ghana, so that people will know that using children as cheap labor is attended upon with a lot of dire consequences, where you may even be sent to jail. That is what we are doing.
Okay.
Parents should know that they don't own the children.
They don't?
They don't own the children. The children are individuals of their own.
That's why they should work on their own.
Yes, but at least they are, for now, whilst they are in their minority, the parents have a responsibility to take care of them and ensure that they are not exposed to exploitative and hazardous jobs, such as we have witnessed. And so, to the extent that I want to send a signal to the parents, if the state, through the police, land on them, they will ensure that they are prosecuted, and they may even be convicted and sentenced for what they have done to the children.
Thank you very much, sir. Well, I've been speaking to Joseph Whittle, who is Deputy Commissioner here at the Commission of Human Rights and Administrative Justice, and we've been talking about this particular video that we've seen. There are bigger social problems or bigger social issues that have been raised, but the rights violations, which of course we highlight here on this show, the right to education has been violated, the right to health, the right to family life, and the very right to childhood, the right to be a child. It is actually a right. But you know, as a citizen, that you have a responsibility, and of course, you can lead action that will lead to prosecution of people who violate these rights of our children. This is Eyes Right, and here we take you through the Constitution. We tell you about your right and responsibilities. Many thanks for your time. Join us next week for another important edition of what you need to know about the Constitution. I'm Gifty Andopia.